Hello and welcome back to Lorehammer. I'm your host, Mark. Yes, that's my intro. Hey, you know what? I hate doing intros. Of all of them, that I think was the worst. But now we know what the lowest bar is. Welcome, Gerald. What's your worst intro that you think you've ever done for a show?
Well, to answer that, my very first episode of Grimlore. So that. But also bold of you to assume that there was a bar.
Yes. Yeah. You're going under the bar still. You never made it over. That's always nice. I like that. I like that though.
I'm too short for dwarf stature, man.
Yes, sir. We also got Fuzz. You don't have much podcasting experience, so like your bar is, I don't know where it's at.
I still need to go pick it up from the store. I need to kind of set it up.
Yeah.
My experience for doing podcast intros would be the couple times I took over for you during Space Wolves.
That's true. Okay. So you've hung out. Okay. Well, look at that. Well, here we go. Welcome to Lorehammer. Everyone's been introduced. Some notes, housekeeping stuff real quick before we get into this cool episode. We're doing Segmentum Tempestus. The last couple episodes, we've been going on this journey through the galaxy, looking at all the different segmentums, kind of getting a good overview of what's there. So this one we're going to kind of go south and see what we see. Before we do that, come to redbubble.com and you can buy t-shirts, banners, coffee cups, underwear. I'm pretty sure you can buy Lorehammer underwear. You know the bionic eye, that's where the flap is for your little, so you can kind of line that up just right for you guys. So go buy that. Redbubble, you can buy all types of fun merchandise.
I'm sold.
Yeah.
Gosh, you don't have to sell me on demand. Jeez.
If you really want to, you can fly to Panama and get the ultimate Lorehammer merchandise of me just like tattooing you. I'll tattoo like a Lorehammer logo on you. I'm not a tattoo artist, and that's what makes it one of a kind.
So a true Skatari experience there. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, while you're providing the Skatari experience to your guests down in Panama, you can also join the Imperial Tithe and support the show and all that good stuff. You get ad-free versions on Spotify for just $2.50, and you can also get to see our lovely faces for just $5 a month on the video stream. And for more info on that, I'm going to hand it over to Fuzz.
This guy. So yeah, join the Patreon. It gives you access to, like Gerald said, the ad-free versions, video versions, other cool stuff. We've got our live chat that you get access to with the Patreon for being able to watch the live streams. You can make jokes, you can make comments, ask questions, tell us how ridiculous we look. And if you can stay up late enough, you can even have a chance to be a call-in guest at the end of the episode.
Oh, yes. And that is when we will reveal Fuzz's true name. And with his true name, you will have power over him, but you have to stay up late enough and join us. So stay tuned.
Only the best of prizes.
Yeah. Cool. Well, this episode, like I said, we've done a couple of them, so we're kind of in the swing of how these ones work. I definitely suggest go listen to these in order, as I find when doing these, you can often kind of build and stack, and the more you do, the more you learn. So, for me, going through them in order, yeah, it helps. So definitely go listen to the other ones. In this episode, we are going to talk quickly about the Segmentum Majoris. We haven't talked about wilderness zones yet. So that's the little spice of detail we're at there. And then we'll dive into the Segmentum Tempestus, which seems to be heavily xenos focused. Like if we go up north, it's chaos. It's just the Eye of Terror and nonsense like that. But down south, it seems like there's a lot of xenos incursions and empires and just upstarts. And then we'll get into the Segmentum Fortress, Bacca, and the Battle Fleet Tempestus, where that harbors, anchors, and then the capital sector of Orphelia 7, or sometimes called Orphelia 4, depending on some sources, I guess. Yeah, somebody messed up, I guess, at one point, and people were pissed off online. Like, these are the same planets. I went down a Reddit trail. Maybe you can go find yourself on the same Reddit trail if you want. Then we'll talk about some other celestial objects found in this, and kind of get a nice little broad overview of the Segmentum Tempestus. One thing to note, on this episode is we aren't doing any redistricting, no redrawing of maps. So where the other ones, it was very obvious something needed to be done with the Great Rift. And some of the stuff said there wasn't canon. Like I was nominating sectors that I nominated doesn't mean Gilman thinks it's to be the case. But this episode is actually all the way it should be. So, you can look forward to that kind of stuff, that it's not just my mad ramblings.
Well, as far as the arguments are concerned over the planet Ophelia 7 or 4, I mean, that just sounds like shitty administratum work, so not your fault.
Yeah, exactly. It's easy to mess up that too, especially when it's in Roman numerals too. Then it's like, what are we doing, man? You're going backwards with numbers.
That makes me think of the Lehman Russ joke. If anyone wants to hear that Lehman Russ joke, go back to the Space Wolves episode where I talk about it.
All right. Well, let's dive into the Segmentum Majoris. We'll find out a little bit more.
All right. Let's start this off here. Each segmentum is sundered into countless sectors. Their measure bends to stellar density and local decree. A single sector may encompass 7 million cubic light years, a domain as wide as a cube 200 light years across. And for those that can't fathom how big that actually is, don't worry, neither can I. And I'm sure neither does GW. Exactly. And we actually have a map of the Segmentum if Mark would like to pull it up now.
Oh, yes.
There we go.
It's been cool over the years, man. We've had so many different galactic maps. And not only that, we get all the faction maps that you can overlay. Going through all these, somebody has been working on this grand project. I wish I remembered who it was, and another Reddit trail. But basically, it's compiling every map onto like some type of map quest type thing and laying out every planet that's ever been marked. So if you're really looking at maps and cartography and geography, I guess, whatever, you can go down some map questing trails, I guess.
So I'm imagining map questing of the 40K galaxy. Go into Street View. There's a demon screaming at the Google card driving by, taking pictures.
I like it. Yeah, I know that. Yeah, Joe's pulling up a couple other maps, and man, it's scattered and like, whoo, that's a lot of. You could zoom in. That's a lot of planets. So cool.
Yep, that's the Segmentum Tempestus right there. But we got zoomed in, so we'll just kind of leave it right there.
Yeah, when doing the notes and stuff, I was looking at the maps of this and like looking at which places would make good fortresses, where all the existing fortresses were and all that kind of stuff. It was really fun. Like, it's cool that there's that much detail. Every now and again, my wife's like, how are you still talking about 40K? I'm like, I don't know, man. It's endless. Like, somebody keeps spawning this shit and I'll keep reading it. Like, there's so much stuff.
Because there's just so much stuff about it. There's just like a little bit of everything for everybody.
Yeah.
Anyways, back to the notes. Sectors fracture further into subsectors, often holding between 2 and 8 star systems within a span of 10 light years. Some hold more, others but a single flame. This scale is bound by the reach of the Navis Imperialis, whose ships carve patrols through the treacherous warp. As subsectors are defined by worlds and not empty voids, innumerable systems within each sector remain unbound to any other. These neglected gulfs are named intersectors, yet more often cursed as wilderness zones, forbidden realms, the black frontier. Such voids may hold nebula of dust and gas, alien dominions, dead systems, and unmarked worlds or spheres unfit for mortal life.
Yeah, I really like that where it talks about like the Navis Imperialis, the ships carving the pass through the warp, and like that's kind of what defines these sectors that they're going through, and these safe warp routes almost is what separates everything. Or
like you find like a very you find like a shortcut where it's like a quick warp route, but the current of the warp is super like tumultuous, but you get there. You could risk it if you want. Or you could kind of stick to the more like easy currents that like you want your trading ships to be on, and like you don't want them getting lost. carve up the galaxy, make a couple different sectors. The wilderness space, so we haven't really talked about that, but yeah, there's a lot of space in between everything. Like the galaxy isn't perfectly laid out. There's not like one planet every square mile or whatever.
There's a lot of space in space.
There's a lot of space in space, and it's random too. And you almost got that spiral in the galaxy, but even that's still pretty random. So the wilderness zones are what's kind of everything in between.
Yeah. So the wilderness space. You said something, Gerald?
Oh yes, it's like you can see in this map right here, like you can see where you're probably gonna have a more higher density of like planets or whatnot with like how the arms are laid out, and then where
that would make sense.
A little bit lighter. So, but yeah,
love it.
No, that's a good point. So the wilderness space is the accursed name given by the Imperium of Man to those fathomless gulfs of the galaxy and beyond that remain uncharted, unbound, and unbroken by the Emperor's will. There are countless reasons why vast regions endure in shadow, even in the dying centuries of the 41st millennium. The galaxy itself is an endless crucible, a scale beyond comprehension, and though humanity has endured almost 40 millennia of conquest, there remain abysses unclaimed and voids unpierced. Ever the bane is the warp, for mankind is shackled to the Imperium for its swift passage, forced to sail the sea of souls, and can only march where the tides do not devour. Like a storm-wracked sea, the warp writhes with currents, eddies, and tempests, sealing entire realms from Imperial reach. When the ruinous powers ascend, their hateful tides swell into rifts and storms. The maelstrom, the ancient ruin storm, the great rift itself, sundering segmentum from segmentum and casting humanity into darkness. Other forsaken regions, such as the Halo stars, are branded barren of resource and hope. Their worlds too hostile or hollow to warrant Imperial dominion. Explorers turn aside, and even rogue traders, ever hungry for profit, spurn the journey into such bleakness. And still there lie the distant fringes, far flung beyond the Astronomicon's holy light, cut from the Emperor's guiding blaze. Navigators recoil in dread, for to enter such silence is to surrender to eternal damnation, lost adrift within the warp's hunger forever. That's intense. That's bad.
Yeah.
You don't want to go there.
No, you don't want to go there, man. And while you're lost adrift forever, you're also getting chased by demons that want to eat your soul. So that's nice. Yeah. We're talking about kind of like the energy of the warp and riding the currents and stuff. And in this, it kind of mentioned, those currents aren't stable, man. There's always new warp rifts popping up or new warp routes going haywire or whatever. So all these routes and all these paths are kind of constantly being like re-navigated and like maybe have you ever seen like a time lapse of a riverbed over like 100 years of a river?
Yeah.
It kind of slowly shifts just like 100 feet over,
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of stuff is happening all the time with all these kind of warp channels, these warp routes.
Yeah, and it sounds like it also like some of it is just that there's areas that the warp routes kind of block off. You can't get through them. Like imagine like an island, surrounded by like whirlpools, or just an island surrounded by like a current and reefs, and you just can't get to it. So it's like, what's over there? I'm sure there's some, some explorers that like are really curious and want to try it, but just the dangers of the warp and I'm sure xenos and everything is very, very high.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you can break wilderness space into 4 very loose categories. If you've attended Imperial Navis Academy, such as I have, you would have learned this. The 4 are unclaimed, sealed, deemed barren, and beyond the Astronomicon. So unclaimed is just the servants of the throne have yet to bear his light into these forsaken reaches. So, beyond the Milky Way, that's just unclaimed. We'll get there. The Emperor will get there. Don't worry. Then we got sealed. Vast tracts of the galaxy are drowned beneath raging warp storms and stellar wounds, denying Imperial advance. Yeah, so that's, the maelstrom, the cicatrix maledictum now. Like, there's just so much just sealed off now. Oh, look, that's a sweet image.
That was an image from
so
the 10th edition trailer of the galaxy being ripped in half.
Yeah. Deemed barren, so certain wastes are judged hollow of worth, like the cursed halo stars, where no empire may profit. And the final kind of loose category is beyond the Astronomicon. There lies the gulf where the Emperor's beacon fails to shine. The navigators dare not tread, lest they vanish into eternity, like we kind of mentioned. So maybe the outside the galaxy is not mankind's quite yet.
Yeah. I like that, like, unclaimed. You could even think about, like, the Great Crusade as the whole galaxy was wilderness space at that time, just because the Emperor and man, like, they hadn't re-expanded out there. So that, just a way to think about that is just it's, quote unquote normal worlds that just haven't been brought back into the fold. Reclaimed.
Yeah, I like that kind of 30K, it's all wilderness and they're just going out on this. Like, who knows what you're gonna find, man.
For real.
So would sealed be like also worlds and systems that were like sucked into the warp rifts?
Yeah, I could imagine.
Or just they're just cut. They're in real space, but just they're like cut off completely by like those warp rifts and everything.
Yeah, I think. These are loose categories we learned. I don't know if I have the best answer for you, unfortunately.
We'll have to message your professors from the Navis Imperialis school.
I will. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'll get right on it. They're so helpful with these kind of questions too. So.
All right. I guess we're going into an overview, a little bit more about the Segmentum Tempestus. Ooh, we got a quote here. Let's see. All right. Put not your trust in ships because ships fail. Put not your trust in guns because guns fall silent. Put not your trust in men because men break. Put your trust in the Emperor because he is the salvation of mankind. In nomine Patria Filius et Imperialis. Amen.
Amen. Yeah, nice quote.
And it was an epistle to the McCragans. So, all right. The Segmentum Tempestus is one of the 5 vast dominions of Imperial space, cast in the galactic south beyond the Segmentum Solar. The hammer of the Navis Imperialis is raised here, while its fortress and battle fleet command anchored upon the war world of Bacca. Though spared the constant tides of chaos pouring from the Eye of Terror or the Maelstrom, Segmentum Tempestus bleeds beneath endless predations of the xenos, who strike like carrion beasts against humanity's bastions. It is here that the Octavius War rages, a nightmarish clash where Orks and Tyranids slaughter one another in numbers beyond counting, with the Imperium caught ever between. Octavius War, I think is what the notes meant to say.
So, yeah, I think you might be right. Yeah.
Ophelia 7 or 4 endures as the oldest of the cardinal worlds, its holiness surpassed only by Terra itself. The planet is consecrated wholly to the Emperor's worship, a shrine world far removed from Terra's light, blazing faith from the galactic south. Oh, I do declare the south, you say.
Yeah, the south, it's just full of kind of xenos, infested with orcs, some of the biggest orc empires. There's been some massive Tyranid fleets in that area, and then a bunch of just gene stealer cults are popping up all over the place just before the advance. At one point, I forget which edition, but there's like this kind of push of like, from south and underneath the galactic plane, Leviathan is coming directly for Sol and Terra itself. So yeah, you kind of get this like brooding kind of Xenos area down here.
I actually just saw an image of a Tyranid map. I'm gonna have to relocate it, but yeah. And I think here it is. Let me blow it up.
Blow it up. Pull it up, Gerald. Pull it up now, quickly.
Blow up all the Tyranids, please. Yes.
Okay, here we go. Tyranid map.
Oh, cool.
You see that. Yeah, it looks like, yep, that's the Leviathan coming up literally from the bottom.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
So you got like Kraken and Behemoth coming in from like the Ultima Segmentum that we talked about. It looks like oh, here we go. High Fleet Ouroboros from the north. And
All
then
from one side though.
Yep,
so
and
far.
then there's Leviathan coming in from in Tempestus. But then this section here is showcasing boom.
Cool.
Leviathan's coming up literally from the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're just being surrounded on all sides.
Yeah. It's only coming from one side, but every side on that, all sides.
Mm-hmm.
So many
terrifying
fleets.
thought.
Yeah. Very, very terrifying to look at that map, man. Like, just imagine if you were actually like in this world and you're like, holy, what the fuck? And like you've seen these fleets where it's just like swarms of bugs.
Well, here's another terrifying image to look at. All the awakening dynasties.
I was looking at that one too, yeah.
Very
It looks like there's like 1, 2, 3, at least 3 in Tempestus. But I think that's what I'm looking at. So
here we go.
Yeah, it seemed to be a focus on like Orks, Tyranids, and Necron, with the big 3 kind of xenos they're talking about coming up in the Tempestus zone.
Yeah, I don't think the Tau have made it this far over.
Nah, Tau space is like
I think that's all in the Ultima Segmentum.
Yeah, Tau space is like roughly here, and that's it.
Yeah. Well, even with like the Starknight Nexus, I think it's still just a different part of the Ultima Segmentum. I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's just on the other side of the rift, but like, still same place. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, speaking of those dirty, filthy, sexy xenos, the Segmentum Tempestus, spared much of the relentless horrors of the Eye of Terror and the maelstroms of chaos, has long been a hunting ground for xenos seeking to carve a foothold in Imperial space. With the Imperium's vigilance stretched across more chaotic sectors, alien raiders, cunning pirate clans, and hidden enclaves of hostile species exploit the vast emptiness of the Tempestus void. Isolated worlds, forbidden asteroid belts, and gas giants shrouded in corrosive clouds often fall prey before Imperial Navy forces can respond, allowing alien populations to take root and consolidate in the shadows of distant stars. So yeah, there's just like so much, like so wilderness space. There's just so much that that the Imperial Navy can't reply to fast enough that they can gain these footholds. They can start these empires.
Yeah, I feel like what kind of happened is we go back to 30K and we look at how humanity spread out, and they are off center, as we talked about before. They're kind of center left. So I feel like they kind of looked at the left half and the southern half of the galaxy as like, we'll get to it. Like, if we go the other way, it's on like that's the galaxy, and then everything to the west and south will just kind of naturally fall under the empire. Then you know what I mean?
Yeah, just like east is there's the most stuff to the east, so that's where we're gonna go first. And it's like this is the Segmentum that time forgot.
Yeah, so and eventually I think humanity would have came back and really got a foothold in these 2 segmentums, but instead you get the Horus Heresy, and then the Xenos can really start to fester.
Mm-hmm.
So
absolutely.
The Orc Empire of the Octavius Orc Empire are among the threats, and has grown into a warlike behemoth. Its countless wog fleets tearing through undefended systems. Orc war bosses have claimed entire sectors, their sprawling forts and rickety space hulks bristling with guns and engines of destruction. The Octavius Orcs show no strategy beyond endless war, but their sheer numbers and ferocity allow them to dominate swaths of the southern Tempestus, raiding isolated worlds and spreading terror across the Segmentum's quieter reaches. We, I think it was episode 104, we did this kind of episode on the Octavius War, and it was kind of branded for the longest time as this big war between the Orks and the Tyranids, and they're orcs are getting stronger every orc or every Tyranid they slay. They get bigger, meaner, greener, while the Tyranids get more powerful every orc they kill. They devour more. So it's this kind of like stalemate, and the Imperium kind of was using it to halt. But then it was like whoever wins, that's going to be a big player. Like that's going to be devastating for if anyone comes out on top. So definitely go listen to episode 104, I think, to kind of hear how that all plays out, because it's kind of interesting, kind of fun.
Kind of makes me think of the tagline from from the original Alien versus Predator movie: "Whoever wins, we lose."
Yeah, that's perfect.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And you hope they both lose. You pray to the Emperor, but yeah, fuck.
Speaking of the Octavius War, let's we got the Tyranid incursion and the Cryptman response. Anyone who has a hate boner for the Inquisition, here's your chance right now. Okay. Inquisitor Cryptman unleashed the full fury of the Imperium, incinerating entire star systems to deny the Tyranids any resources, leaving scorched worlds and shattered moons in his wake. At last, he cunningly redirected the relentless Tyranid swarms toward the Orc-Octavius Empire, hoping that the clash of these two xenos leviathans would blunt the Tyranid advance. But the Tyranids' relentless swarms cannot be fully halted, and now many sectors are battlefields locked in perpetual struggle between Orc forces and ravenous Tyranid high fleets. Worlds burn as Orcs and Tyranids clash, each attempting to feed or claim the other's spoils, leaving Imperial defenders to fight in the wake of devastation and contain the spread of alien domination.
Yeah, and then you kind of are just once again left alone and almost abandoned. Like the Imperium just seems like they almost always have more priority to the north and to the east than they ever will to the south and to the west. So yeah, they're kind of left there.
Say Cryptman's just out there doing his best. That's all. He's just
yeah.
He's using the resources that were given to him. That's all.
Even if you have a 99% hit record, there's that 1% you fuck up and burn entire sectors to the ground.
It just hit me. Sorry, go ahead, Gerald.
I was gonna say, it's just like they say, it doesn't matter how many attaboys you get, all it takes is that one oh shit.
Yeah. It just hit me. This reminds me a lot of, I don't know if either of you have played the Horizon Zero Dawn games. Actually, Gerald, you told me you hadn't.
I hadn't, but I purchased it very recently, so I'm looking forward to actually playing it.
So a little bit of a spoiler for that game. Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay. So it's a post-apocalyptic game, and this reminds me of that because the ancient enemy is machines, but they use biomass to self-heal and self-replicate. Okay. And so that's kind of this very Tyranid-like, and to get away from it, they basically hide humanity in bunkers and just let everything burn to starve out the robots. It just seems like a very Cryptman response.
Yeah. Okay.
I think I actually am aware of that. Like it's essentially like the Grey Goo disaster that people have predicted.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought that was just fun little thing that popped in my head. Also, great game. One of the best games I've ever played in my life. You should all go play it. But speaking of terrible robots that want to kill everybody, Awakening Necron Dynasties.
I have got the wrong map pulled up. While I go fix that.
You're good. So, beneath the cold, distant stars of the Segmentum Tempestus, ancient Necron dynasties stir. Tomb worlds long buried beneath ice, stone, and desolate sands awaken, their legions of silent warriors rising to reclaim lost domains. Some dynasties clash among themselves for control, others emerge to confront the encroaching Orc and Tyranid threats, their motives inscrutable and their technology far beyond mortal comprehension. The Imperium regards these resurrections with dread, for each awakening dynasty promises waves of annihilation that may sweep through the Tempestus like a deathless tide.
Oof. Yeah, man.
Yeah, can't stop, won't stop.
No, you don't want to wake up a tomb world, You've been there. You're just pleasantly playing. You're just having a nice beach day with your kid, making a little sand castle, playing in the sand.
You dig too deep.
Papa, what is this? Yeah,
Or
fuck.
dug
That's
too
a bad
greedily
day.
and too deep.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's happened a lot in this region, unfortunately.
Certifiable double nerding, as court would approve.
Oh yeah, we'll get all the extra nerdy IPs in here that we can.
Oh hell yeah!
All right.
Does it say what dynasties are there? Sorry, I was just wondering if it said what dynasties were awakening or just they are there.
The
On the map,
Akator, the Tyre, the Orsuki. There was none of the big ones I found. It wasn't like the Nekobek or like any of the
Okay.
one. Yeah, there was none of the big ones.
So also the Necrons don't care about this place and leave it for the minor dynasties.
Yeah.
It's
But like,
you want
yeah,
the
you
big
know, if you are,
ones.
sorry, Jeff.
I think you're good. I think like if you want your big ones, I think they're all in like the Ultima Segmentum, as is everything. Yeah, Nihilak, that's Trajan's Dynasty. Saltec, that's the big one of everyone. So yeah, so everything's like in the big Segmentum. So it's kind of like no one cares about Tempestus here.
Yeah. If you scroll to the bottom right there a little bit, there's Bacca, the planet, the star.
Okay, yeah, I see that.
Yeah. That's their Segmentum fortress. And it's basically surrounded by a bunch of Necron stuff. So that's always fun. There's Segmentum Fortress. The foremost duty of a Segmentum Fortress is to stand as a bastion of naval command, the iron heart from which all assets of the Navis Imperialis within the Segmentum are directed. Though it is bound to the machinery of imperial rule, such as fortress is helmed by the Adeptus Administration Master, while the Segmentum's battle fleets march to the will of the Lord High Admiral. These exalted warlords, their authority carved in blood and oath, may even claim a seat upon the Senatorum Imperialis of Terra itself. Bacca, once a mining world, carved hollow by endless toil. Carved hollow, yes.
All right.
It's renowned across the galaxy for its titanic shipyards, which have birthed vessels of war for the Imperium since the Great Crusade's dawn in the 30th millennium. Now Bacca endures as a Segmentum fortress of Tempestus, its forges and docks ever burning, its fleets ever mustered. From this stronghold, Battlefleet Bacca commands resupplies and repairs to the Emperor's armadas, holding the southern reaches against the unending night. A world of fire and youth, Bacca was seized in the lost dark age of technology by mankind's wayfarers who claimed its molten riches in the Emperor's name. Sorry, that's a little bit of a misquote. So it was originally found then, but then it was eventually kind of reclaimed. You know, most planets were lost. Humanity spread out. Anyways, its surface is a shattered crust of basalt and granite, blackened rafts adrift upon the endless ocean of living magma. At times, the planet convulses, and the molten fury bursts skyward, hurling pillars of golden flame into the poisoned heavens. The air itself is a weapon, a cauldron of burning toxins, sulfur, ammonia, sodium, and worse, swirling in storms of red rust haze. Colossal crawling engines claw at the convective flows, tearing free the ores, dragging from the abyss. Workers perish in droves. Penitents and heretics are cast into the crucible alike. For though the Emperor may bless repentance, sin can only be purged through pain, as we all know. Black rafts bear the Imperium's fortress planets, sealed citadels of steel and adamantium where ore is broken to the Imperium's will. Heavy laser batteries glare from their bastions, ready to tear meteors from the sky and burn intruders in his wrath. Above this inferno hang the Orbita Manufactura, vast and eternal, where the shipyards of the Segmentum Tempestus forge the fleets of war. What a fucking planet that is. It's just like this.
That's cool, yeah.
Hollow, but like full of molten that just keeps sprawling up, and you kind of dredge the molten for ores.
Yeah, and I like that it's a different kind of fortress world, sort of. Like when thinking of a fortress world, you might think of something like Cadia, that's like we talked about before, where it's just, you know, staffed with, you know, I guess when you think of like stereotypical military, you've got your shock troops and your militarum and your tanks and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Where like this fortress world is like a factory, and it can be a fortress world because it puts out just such a massive amount of these powerful naval starships to defend everything.
Yeah,
Mhm.
like there's no keeps on the planet because
Yeah.
you would never get to the planet to need it. Like,
Yeah.
I also like the idea that the hollowed out, it's been mined just to hell and back, and there just is nothing left on the planet. But I guess like the molten core and the lava going around that they use for the forges and everything.
Nah, you know they bled that thing dry too. Here is probably not backup, but here is a picture of a manufactorum just to give the general vibe of what it probably looks like over there.
Because it's got the lava flowing through it. That's really good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is why you should pay the money to watch the live stream so you can see these wonderful pictures Gerald has up.
yeah, but for anyone else, I'll engage in some triple nerding for you and paint the image of Mustafar.
Oh, yeah.
Anakin fighting. That's one of those planets where it's like, lava world. Yes, mine it. We gotta mine the lava with metal buckets.
Well, here, let's see here. Mustafa.
But I also love that it's spelled a little bit differently, but in Japanese, baka basically means like idiot or fool or whatever. And I'm assuming the people on the planet are like, this fucking stupid ass fucking planet. This dumb planet.
Blows.
And as they then fall into the lava. Fuck.
It said there that they're throwing heretics and like criminals and stuff into the lava as a form of punishment.
I mean, that's efficient. You're not wasting any resources.
I suppose.
Not even a bullet.
Not even a bullet.
There we go. And now we're completing the triple nerding with the image of Mustafar and what it was probably like on backup.
Hell yeah.
I don't know. I'm also getting like Nocturne vibes too. If I'm being honest.
Yeah.
A little bit like a little Mordor in there.
Sprinkle of Mordor. Dash of Mustafar.
Dash of Mustafar. One does not simply walk. We'll just leave it on this image for now. But while we talk about something a little bit more stinky, we're going to talk about probably Nurgle, but we'll see. The plague of unbelief. Excuse me. In the fractured dawn of the 36th millennium, the Imperium writhed in the madness of the age of apostasy. False prophets rose like vermin, some as frothing madmen leading rabid hordes, and others as silver-tongued tyrants commanding whole worlds and legions. Foremost among these was the apostate Cardinal Bucharest of Gathalamor, whose blasphemies festered so widely they were cursed as the plague of unbelief. In 336, Bacca itself was drawn into this rotting heresy, swollen into a minor breakaway empire that defied the throne. Its people, poisoned in faith, clung to the heretical lie that the emperor no longer ruled the galaxy. This corruption stretched from Bacca in the far galactic south to even the wolf-haunted north and the hallowed homeworld of Fenris. Only the unyielding valor of the Space Wolves shattered the plague, their defiance breaking Bucharest's back after his armies were hurled in ruin against the Fang.
Yeah. In this episode, we talk a little bit more about the plague of unbelief. We've done an episode on it, and in the next episode, we talk about it. The Segmentum Pacificus and Tempestus, they seem to also have a lot of like little heretic empires, like upstarts, like almost religious, like false religious, where it's not they're worshiping corn or something like that. It's like they're worshiping almost themselves in place of the emperor, if that makes sense. And that happens a lot in these two sectors. And these planets, we'll talk about a couple more planets later on that we'll get to. But yeah, so you can kind of keep that in the back of your mind too, that there seems to be like seeds of heresy, religious heresy in these two segmentums more so.
And just to showcase it too, like here's Bacca, like right here. And it said that that heresy, quote unquote, extended as far up as I've gone too far.
Fenris.
Yeah,
As far as Fenris, which is usually like in this general area.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll find out about it. The Plague of Unbelief. It's the craziest incident since the Horus Heresy, really.
Here we go. Fenris.
Yeah, that's quite the spread of.
Yeah, that's quite the spread there.
It's almost like
it got big enough. It sounds like that they were sending troops to the Fang. Like this guy was sending his armies of heretics to the Fang. That is wild.
Yeah. Good times.
Yeah.
So that's back. That's the Segmentum Fortress. It has engaged in heresy one time, which is fun.
So honestly, the fact that it's still, it could have suffered worse fates. Other planets have suffered worse fates for less heresy, I feel like.
Yeah.
But so it is the a big forge. It creates the ships. It creates the battle fleet Tempestus. Those far distant warp-beaten ships upon which Imperial citizens never gaze stand between heresy and the dominion of the galaxy. Lord Admiral Zacharias Wrath. The Segmentum Tempestus battle fleet, or Battlefleet Bacca, is a titanic armada of Imperial Navy vessels tasked with guarding the Segmentum Tempestus. Matter is scarce here, and the void stretches black and endless, lit only by scattered cold stars. For this reason, Tempestus fleets have long relied on concentrated flotillas and anti-piracy sweeps rather than grand fleet maneuvers, striking swiftly and with unyielding precision. In the 36th millennium, a cadre of Tempestus tacticians, later dubbed the Garox Prerogative for their base at the Garox sector, rose to prominence. This young school demanded a revolution in fleet warfare favoring attack craft carriers, proven deadly against pirate swarms. Arrogant and ambitious, the Prerogative seized enough influence to reshape Imperial warship design, commissioning carriers such as the ill-fated Despoiler-class battleships. Their vision clashed with the steadfast Lance Doctrine adherents at Bacca, veteran officers who placed faith in the devastating power of macro cannons over fragile craft wings. Rivalry boiled into civil war, the infamous Garox incident, Inquisita Classificate Purgata Sacrata Level Sextus. Fleet actions tore across the void, proving the superiority of lance-armed warships. The Prerogative was purged, Garox was cleansed in fire and ash. Many supporters, consumed by bitterness, fell to heresy and vanished into the warp. Only 3 despoilers were ever completed of 15, each ultimately becoming trader vessels. The catastrophe bred enduring suspicion of attack carriers and Tempestus fleets. Even now, Battlefleet Bacca favors massive gunships, their lance batteries, the hammer of the Emperor's wrath. The Lance Doctrine endures, a reminder that the void respects only power, and that failure in the Emperor's name can spawn ruin eternal. I do like that bit of the void respects only power. That is such a good line.
That quote goes hard.
Yeah. The Lance Doctrine, pretty cool. We don't really know much of the doctrines of the other fleets. It's fun how they kind of describe each fleet with their own little thing. So yeah, these guys, they like their big guns. And there's a whole trial by fire rebellion, like another little rebellion in this area where which ship is best? Only one way to find out. Cracks knuckles, let's go to war.
Right.
And yeah, they do.
I love that, like the term Lance Doctrine too. Just thinking of a medieval knight riding with their lance, just all of that power behind that one concentrated shot to just ruin your week, just absolutely wreck you.
It's kind of interesting because when I was young and did not understand what 40K was, I saw my diagram of several different types of Imperial ships. And I always thought it was kind of weird because why does it look? Because in my young mind, why does it look like why does the front of the ship look like the front of a railway train? Like, why does it have that prow or whatever?
Like the cowcatcher on the front of it?
Yeah.
Because when you're going through the warp, you're hitting demons off the front.
Right. Just aiming through Tyranids.
Yeah, and that's also when I learned too, after I got into the hobby, they also like to ram things.
Yeah, hey, you see that? Admiral, You see that ship 10,000 miles away? Ram it. And slowly ponders over towards them. Fuck yeah.
And it's also very similar to, I think, in the Star Wars galaxy, like the Galactic Empire, like most of their starships like have that triangle wedge shape to it. Apparently, their shipbuilders follow a very similar doctrine where you're essentially concentrating all your firepower forward. And so that's why it has that very distinctive wedge shape of all the Star Destroyers, and also gives like that very intimidating look.
Yeah, like Star Wars is interesting because they don't know that space is 3D. They put like a ring of blockades around a planet. They're like, we got the planet. Like now you're telling me they only point their guns forward on the ships. It's cool. It's fun. They don't have a good name like Lance Doctrine though to get away with it.
Yeah, just a showcase for if God forbid there's any listeners or watchers out there that doesn't know Star Wars.
If you don't know what a Star Destroyer is, this is what it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
So.
I got a little note on redrawing maps. When learning about Battlefleet Tempestus, I learned about this little bit of information, and I'll tell you why we need to redraw what I've previously told. But Bacca is the sector naval base closest to the Ultramarine chapter's homeworld of Macragge, even though they aren't in the same segmentum, mostly due to the Ultima segmentum being so massive. And as such, Battlefleet Bacca played a major role in defeating the Tyranid Hive Fleet's behemoth during the First Tyrannic War and at the climactic Battle of Macragge in 745 M41. When the Imperial man first encountered the dire threat of the insidious xenos known as the Tyranids and the Hive Fleet behemoth, the Imperial Navy Segmentum Tempestus High Command ordered the entirety of the Bacca Hive Fleet to help in the valiant defense of the Ultramarine Space Marine chapter, who are being forced back step by step by the tide of alien horrors. Then, just when all appeared lost, the first squadrons of warship from Hive Fleet Bacca began to arrive to take part in the climactic Battle of Macragge. The Imperial Administratum, ever vigilant for opportunities to improve coordination and map the galaxy more efficiently, used the deployment and actions of Battlefleet Bacca as a convenient justification to redraw sector boundaries, breaking down portions of the Segmentum Obscurus and Ultima Segmentum into smaller, more manageable regions to better organize fleet movements and planetary defenses. So yeah, basically that's crazy that they have like a fortress world from another segmentum going like far, like deep into Ultima segmentum space. It's not like Macragg's right on the border. So just we need to break down some stuff, get some more segmentum fortresses, some more fleets going. Really take the galaxy back. No more wilderness zone.
Right. I mean, if anything, the Imperial Administratum didn't have enough work, so now they definitely needed those more. They needed more segmentums to manage.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's a great job creation program, actually.
Got to give those servitors something to do.
Yeah. I was going to make an Emma Trump joke, but I'm going to hold it
in. So we got a couple different fleet-specific things, special weapons, and a couple notable classes to get into.
So, okay. So some special weapons of Battlefleet Bacca. You have the fleet defense turret. Bacca's warships carry heavy turret armaments, for fighter cover is sparse in these dead voids. A Bacca innovation, the fleet defense turret is mounted upon flak vessels, long-ranged and relentless, shielding convoys, and it shields convoys from incoming craft and cutting down attackers before they reach the Emperor's warships.
Yeah, kind of more into that Lance doctrine. They'd rather put a lot of guns on the ship than put ships on the ship.
Yeah, and hit you before you can hit them. Absolutely. Some notable ship types. There's the Despoiler class battleship. I'm sure this is a favorite of Abaddon's. Little heed was paid to the 3 Despoiler vessels until the merciless death vanished on extended patrol in the American sector. American.
Yeah.
30 years later, it returned, leaving 16 unshielded Imperial transports smoldering in the Benardi conflict. Their crews claimed by fires as they journeyed to Benardi Prime. The merciless death haunted the void in countless engagements, creeping ever closer to the Eye of Terror before vanishing in the 39th millennium. Soon after, its sister disappeared, each blamed for firing upon Imperial vessels before slipping into the warp. Sisters. All three have been glimpsed again amid the horrors of the Gothic War. The Despoiler-class battleships carry 8 squadrons of Swift Death fighters, Doomfire bombers, and Dreadclaws, a storm of steel and flame. For direct engagement, they wield 2 lance turrets and 2 weapons batteries capable of ripping starships from the void with righteous fury, a testament to the Emperor's wrath and the unending vigilance of his fleet.
Yeah, so this was the other this is one kind of variant, this is the non-Lance Doctrine variant that the schools were fighting with. So the despoilers were made, they tried them out, couple went rogue, couple weren't commissioned, but they're still out in the galaxy doing their thing.
It looks like they do have like pictures of Swift Death fighters. Like it's on the 40K wiki at least. I'm looking to see if they have images of the other ones too.
Yeah, cool.
I got one.
Yeah, I love their ships.
Yep, I got one of the next one that Mark's going to talk about. I got one ready to go whenever it comes up.
Yeah, the Jovian class battle cruiser. So I believe this is more of the type that they go with more so. But we'll find out. I forget if it's the Jovian or the Dominion, but the Jovian was regarded with suspicion by many within the Battlefleet Bacca, from the history and tradition weigh heavily upon the Imperial Navy. And Bacca's fleet lords are slow to abandon precedent. With the Jerarok's prerogative. Wow. Okay. Jarok's prerogative etched into fleet's academies as cautionary lore. The very notion of a dedicated attack craft carrier borders on heresy. Yet the horrors of the First Tyrannic War exposed its flaws of Bacchus' distrust. While mass batteries and lance fire held the Tyranids at bay, it became clear that swarms of attack crafts were crucial to support the battle fleet. Though Adeptus Mechanicus Forge Worlds can launch new cruisers each cycle, the encroaching Tyranid menace left Bacca no time for such luxury. Salvation came in the form of the Jovian, a venerable Mars-class battlecruiser, long laid up after its prow and forward battery decks were shattered during the Stubulu campaign. Centuries of neglect passed, but converting its ruined decks into launch bays proved straightforward, hastily completed without even full trials, but manned by Bacca's finest attack craft crews. The Jovian performed admirably, one of 12 capital ships to fight back to Bacca after decisive battles of Circe. Despite this triumph, Bacca's fleet lords cling to the big gun dogma. Another ship of this kind is unlikely to ever sail under the Segmentum Tempestus authority. Yeah, so this was kind of just a ship where somebody's like, look, no, we need to do something. Somebody took it into his own hands to go take an old Mars-class abandoned ship and kind of repurpose it, strip off all the guns, put a bunch of ships in. Like, you need it, I guess.
Yes, I would like a little bit of ship with my guns, please. Thank you.
There's a little bit of ship with my guns, please.
Marker Jill, do you want to highlight Alpha Primus's? Yeah, there you go. Do you think shipyards build their own fighters, or is it outsourced? I think that they definitely build the fighters that go onto the larger ships, like the carrier ships, because that just seems, as much as I don't usually want to give the Imperium credit for this, it's more efficient. They're going to get right on there and be able to go right out. It's going to make them fight faster, which is what the Imperium wants.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like it would be weird. Yeah, it would be weird to like have a ship that has a bunch of ships in it, but you got to ship those ships in from out of town on a ship that is not there. You know what I mean? So yeah, you probably want to build those ships close by, if not in the same location.
Yeah, like the space version of like you see a car hauler, just a car hauling other cars down the highway, just a ship dragging other fighters.
Yeah,
it's a
exactly.
Container, shipping containers with more shipping containers, shipping containers.
Oh God! Yeah, even Alphys Primus says, I see the problem with outsourcing it would be transporting them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I looked a little bit more
Yeah.
into like those ships. Some of those do also have models, and some of these also might have models from like the Battlefleet Gothic as well.
Fuck yeah.
And speaking of models, we also have the Dominion class battle cruiser, and which just making sure it's showing now. Yeah, okay, there we go. So yeah, Dominion class battle cruiser. The Dominion class battle cruiser was conceived as a modern successor to the Mars class, forged to serve as a steadfast fleet support vessel, optimized for the role of attack craft carriers as envisioned by the fleet commanders of Bacca. Though its launch bays and lance batteries made it an effective adjunct to the grand maneuvers favored by the lance doctrine, the class fared poorly in smaller engagements and inherited many flaws of the Gothic class cruiser when tested against the raids and ambushes that haunted Battlefleet Bacca's scattered flotillas. The Light of Faith, in particular, had a grim beginning, its maiden deployment ending ignominiously as its escorts were driven from an uncharted system by relentless Necron raiders. One of 2 Dominion-class ships at the Battle of Circe, the Light of Faith was among 12 capital vessels of Battlefleet Bacca to return, redeeming centuries of lost honor through blood, fire, and the Emperor's unyielding will.
It's funny that this like little civil war thing never really got fully resolved. Like, yeah, it came to blows, and then one side was victorious, but there's always these other captains that are springing up. Like, no, I think we need some attack craft. Like, come on. And then some of them go horribly sideways. Their first mission goes in its failure, and all the other admirals are laughing at them. Like, this is why we don't do that. You know, just like fucking admiral politics and bullshit like that.
Yeah, it definitely seems like though, like that makes sense because it's a sort of unique sector because everything is these like smaller, like small Necron dynasties, small Orc empires, small Drukhari raiders. So they have these bigger, slower ships being hit by these smaller, faster ships, and definitely makes sense why some of the younger up and comers would be frustrated by this and want to try something different.
Yeah, like come on, like we can't have one ship. Come on, please.
Right. Just give me 3 faster ships and it'll be okay. No.
Hey, if you keep this up, we won't even give you a ship and we'll just give you a gun. And that's when you join the guard.
We'll give you a gun and a scooter. That's what you get to.
Fuck.
But where's my shovel?
All right. So after the battle fleet, we have the capital sector / system, the Ophelia system. The Ophelia system is an Imperial star system in Segmentum Tempestus, which holds the important shrine world of Ophelia 7. Ophelia 7 is the oldest of the Imperium's cardinal worlds, its sanctity second only to Terra itself in the eyes of the faithful. It is home to the Synod Ministra and the Adeptus Sororitas Convent Sanctorum, bastions of unwavering devotion and martial piety. Convent Sanctorum. The entire world is consecrated to the Emperor of mankind. His glory manifests in mile-high cathedrals and soaring bell towers, linked by avenues lined with statues of thousands of saints who gave their lives in his service. Beneath the surface, dungeons descend into the planet's bowels where heretics are made to atone. Arco-flagellation, death masking, soul scouring, and the dreaded trial of castigation are but a few of the Emperor-sanctioned horrors that purge the impure. Ophelia 7 was the diocese of Benedict IV as an imperial cardinal before his ascent to the position of ecclesiarch, and is said to have been the wealthiest planet in the human-settled galaxy after Terra and Mars. This made it an ideal world to host the Adeptus Ministorum when Terra became too much of a politically confining force for the ecclesiarchy's hierarchy in the 36th millennium. From the age of ecclesiarch Benedict IV to Gregor XI, Ophelia 7, not Terra, served as the true heart of the Adeptus Ministorum. Even now, it remains a central seat of Ministorum power, a shining fortress of faith and judgment second only to Holy Terra itself.
Ooh, yeah. What a crazy place. So this whole planet is just like gold and riches and cathedrals.
Yeah, I'm imagining like the Vatican City, the planet. I don't know if either of you or any of our listeners have ever been to Vatican City, but it is tiny and opulent. I have been to Vatican City actually.
Wow.
I was actually there when Pope John Paul II died.
Oh wow.
Me and my buddy were joking that of course he dies when the atheists and the Jew are visiting the Vatican. Our bad.
It was a hit.
It was wild though. Like, yeah, it was a wild time just how packed it got. But yeah, like going inside like the Sistine Chapel and everything, and like going into the catacombs. Yeah, it is. There is a lot of concentrated wealth. It wasn't on purpose.
It wasn't.
Jax Carter says you killed the Pope. I didn't do it on purpose. It was an accident.
But yes.
But yes. But maybe. I can neither confirm nor deny this.
Yeah, that'd be one of the coolest places. You know, another very cool place to go to would just be like, yeah, you see the Colosseum and stuff like that. Where it's just
yeah.
Old.
Yeah, we hit a few cities in Italy for a high school trip for a class. Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, man. So a little bit more about the history of this planet, Orphelia 7, and how it became kind of this, like the third most wealthiest planet in the Imperium. It's almost like we got the two empires that we know about, the Mechanicum, the Imperium. You almost got this third head of the eagle of the ecclesiarch. You know, it's that powerful, and it's almost even that different. So yeah, during the Great Crusade in the 30th millennium, during the Emperor's Great Crusade, Ophelia 7 was claimed for the newborn Imperium in the battle led personally by the God Emperor of mankind. He charged into the fray alongside 100 custodians and 10,000 warriors of the Imperial Fifth Legion. Sorry, whoever's typing, just make sure you're muted. Shattering the enemies of humanity beneath his wrath. Okay, so great start. Kind of reclaimed by the Emperor himself and his legion, like his custodies, and some Imperial fists, but very cool. So it starts off just like prime spot. The place kind of radiates the Emperor even after he leaves.
Sorry, I was getting lost in these images of a shrine world.
Yeah, paying homage. I get you.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Man, there's a seedy underbelly part right there.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see here. I like this image. We'll hold on that one. Okay. So the arrival of the ecclesiarchy. Ecclesiarch Benedict IV relocated the full apparatus of the Adeptus Ministorum to Ophelia 7, raising cathedrals across 90,000 Terran square miles and soaring 4 kilometers into the sky. Man, that's just ridiculous.
I love it.
Love it. Rookie numbers. Build it up. Only the Imperial Palace on Terra rivaled the scale and majesty of the Gothic beacons of these Gothic beacons of faith. 3 factors dictated this choice: Benedict IV's personal devotion, the world's immense wealth, and its isolation from Terra. Distant from the High Lords and other centers of power, its remoteness allowed the ecclesiarchy to gather tithe and influence, while cardinals competed to erect ever more magnificent monuments and purge rival cults, extending imperial orthodoxy across countless systems. And this just brings back to Alpha Primus' comment, the more concentrated the wealth up top, the dirtier it is underneath. So, good call there.
Yeah.
And if anybody who knows historical Renaissance Italy and the Vatican, a lot of stuff going on there.
Yeah, a little bit of lots of little things happening for sure. Fun.
If you want a more fun experience, just play Assassin's Creed 2, and that tells you all you need to know.
100% historically accurate. And after that, go watch a great history movie, 300.
And then after that, continue your homework with watching The Borgias.
Yeah.
Okay. Departure of the ecclesiarchy. Nearly 3 centuries later, Ecclesiarch Gregor XI returned the Ministorum to Terra, securing its seat across the High Lords of the Senatorum Imperialis. 12 years and vast Ministorum resources were spent restoring the ecclesiarchal palace on Terra. Ophelia 7 remained sacred, its cathedrals and synod ministra enduring as the greatest cardinal world, second only to Terra itself. High Lord Van Dyer and the Age of Apostasy. High Lord Goge Van Dyer seized control of both the Adeptus Ministorum and the Administratum, ruling the Imperium with near absolute power. Van Dyer crushed the cardinals beneath his iron fist, forcing his enemies to flee. They sought sanctuary on Ophelia 7, yet their ship was lost to the warp, swallowed by the Imperium's merciless eddies? Is that what you meant to say, eddies?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, eddies it's a nautical term for like
like
swirling water.
Oh, that's something I did not know. Okay, that's a new wrinkle for my brain.
Yeah, get your seaman terms up there, my friend.
Reforms of Sebastian Thor. After Van Dyer's reign of blood ended, Sebastian Thor ascended as ecclesiarch. He created the Synod Ministra on Ophelia 7, a bulwark against corruption and overreach. It spread Terra's Holy Synod decrees, defended the Ministorum from internal threats, and housed the Astra Ministra, the administrative corps from the Storm personnel aboard the Imperium starships.
Yeah. Well, that's like a super condensed version of the Age of Apostasy. You get like the crazy High Lord, that Lord Goge Van Dyer, who kind of gets in his mind that he should be worshipped. Also, he's pretending that he's doing it for the Emperor. The Emperor's chosen him to be worshipped type situation. And yeah, he ends up leading like half the Imperium, as I was saying, like they kind of went all the way down from Bacca all the way up to Fenris, and everything to the west of that like was kind of either upended or, they even went to Terra itself. Like it was a big thing. I forget what episode it was that we did. We talked about all that, but it comes up a whole bunch. But that's a little recap for you.
Yeah, there's definitely like at least one, if not more, Age of Apostasy episodes.
Mm-hmm. Definitely an older Lorehammer one, I know for sure.
You talk about Sisters of Battle, you have to talk about this whole era because this is when they're all founded and the whole reason and all that. Lots of stuff happens here. Some great heroes and stuff. Some cool warp storms even happen where it's like, new warp storms, almost divine, disrupt people's movements and kind of make people have to re-navigate or rethink what their empire looks like. So all types of fun stuff.
Yeah. Also, speaking of learning new worlds, like Gerald learned the term Eddie, synod, I was looking up because I was curious because it kept coming up, is like a gathering of clergy. So like the synod ministra is probably like just their term for like, the ministry of the clergy.
Yeah.
All right. So after this, we have the Adominus Crusade, the Battle of Ophelia 7. After Cadia fell in 999 M41 and the 13th Black Crusade left the galaxy sundered by the Great Rift, Ophelia 7 was plunged into chaos. The Cardinal World fell under the tyranny of the Greater Demon, the Tyrant of Blue Flame, a Lord of Change in service to Tzeentch. The Adeptus Sororitas of the Order of Our Martyred Lady resisted with unmatched zeal but faced near annihilation. Only the arrival of the resurrected Primarch Robert Gilliman and the Black Templars of the Indominus Crusade broke the demon's hold. Though the tyrant escaped, Ophelia 7 was liberated at the cost of nearly half the Sororitas' strength, a testament to their courage and the Emperor's relentless justice.
Yeah, crazy. During this battle, like this planet actually has a bunch of different like orders on it. They do name a bunch, and yeah, a bunch of them get wiped out, destroyed, and all that. It is fun. The Indominus Crusade, we kind of just get these little updates of what happened to all these planets. And yeah, lots of them are not looking well.
Yeah, I know in the couple books that I've gotten through, like a couple 40K books, when the Sororitas show up, it's usually the Order of Our Martyred Lady, like as the main like militant ones.
Yeah, and that's the Sisters of Battle you see on the box art, right? The black armor with the red cloth.
Yeah,
they're one of the Celestine orders.
Yeah. I remember like reading a little article or whatever what the numbers of Sisters of Battle must be. You know, there's only probably 1 million Space Marines in the galaxy at any given time. There's 1 trillion guardsmen at least. But then, yeah, there's probably billions of Sisters of Battle. Like, they're not limited in the same way the Space Marines are. Like, they're not as numerous as guardsmen, but they're definitely way more numerous than Space Marines because they're still just humans.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely in the middle. And they do have all the different kinds too. So you've got your hospitaliers, you've got your Repentia, you've got your stock standard battle sister.
Yeah, you even got other branches too, where it's like non-military branches of Sisters of Battle, where they either focus on like charitable work or like healing people, or
Yeah, I mentioned the Discord, but if anyone wants to read a good sororitas book, one of the first ones I read was Faith and Fire. It is very good.
Okay, that's Tau and Sisters of Battle.
No, it's just Sisters of Battle. Well, it's Sisters of Battle like against other humans.
Yeah. Oh, I'm thinking of Crisis and Faith, the Farsight book.
Okay.
Faith and Fire. Yeah, they all kind of blend.
There's only so many words to use for all these things. And there's so many books.
Classic. Okay, well, we're gonna kind of peel back now and look at some notable sectors that kind of give Tempestus its name. The first one we'll talk about is the Caligari sector, and it is a vast and ancient forgotten region on the fringes of the Segmentum Tempestus, filled with the shadow of 100 tainted worlds. It is a sector plagued by the mysterious warp surges, which are smaller but highly unpredictable manifestations of dread warp storms. Far from the guiding light of the Astronomicon and torn apart by foul tempests that can twist reality and cut entire systems for centuries, leaving them ripe for chaos infestation. The Caligari sector is a heaven for heretic and the outlaw, the xenos, and the corrupted. Yeah, cool. Little warp surges. Just little blips of storms that just flick off. And like, that flick might be a decade. And that's quick in the galactic scale of things, even like warp storms. But like, that would fuck up a whole planet, man. If you had to even rethink your space lanes for even 1 year, man, that would be crazy. Little warp surges. Cool stuff.
When it comes to galactic, like just galactic scale, just like sense of time just kind of goes out the window.
Yeah. Whether it's traveling or the warp fucking with everything.
I remember hearing a story one time about a ship that was traveling through the warp. They pick up a distress beacon, so they go to the location of that distress beacon. There is nothing there when they get to it. But then all of a sudden, they are ambushed and raided by chaos vehicles or by chaos ships. So then they send out a distress beacon, and then they realize a ship is coming to their aid. But it's their past self that is coming to aid them because they were the ones that sent the distress beacon.
No.
Yeah. It also reminds me. One of the episodes of Hammer Bolter on Warhammer TV is a bunch of like Nurgle Marines, Plague Marines.
Plague Song.
Yeah, when they go into assault a astropathic choir stronghold, and to basically like to get through the door, they've already rotted the door from the inside when they get in, because the song from the astropathic choir goes like back in time and corrupts itself, and it's really fucking weird. It's really cool, but it's really weird.
Cool,
it's like they just translated out of the warp to assault this, and then like this massive Imperial fleet is there to meet them. But then like I think like one of the plague lords and whatnot is just like, just wait, and then all of a sudden you see all the Imperial ships just like rot from the inside out of nowhere.
Yeah,
because that rot was catching up to itself because it went back in time, like what Fuzz was talking about.
And that's what let them get through to get the rot back. It's makes its own nasty, vile cycle of filth and nurgleness.
Such a really good episode, but
it is a really good episode. Yeah,
really disgusting episode.
If anyone wants to see it, I will. I'll mention on the Discord where
Nice.
Don't want to get Lorehammer Legal involved.
Anyways, enough about nurgliness that makes me want to vomit in my mouth. Let's talk about the Orpheus sector. The Orpheus sector was a sector imperialis of the Segmentum Tempestus. This fortress realm had endured for nearly 4,000 years against the ravages of the Orc and the predations of the Eldar, because you can't always forget the knife ears there. The destruction of civil war and the malevolence of chaos would yet prove to be as defenseless as a newborn before the horror of what was to come, the Necron Maynarch dynasty. Awakened from their slumber, this malevolent and sinister Necron-tier dynasty was known for its savagery and malice. Emerging from their millennia-long stasis sleep, the Maynarch pursued their unnatural lust of destruction and bloodshed. After years of probing and study, eventually this Necron dynasty first made contact with the Imperium in the Orpheus sector, which resulted in the ongoing Orphean War. Despite this mobilization of the sector's Imperial Navy Battlefleet Orpheus, multiple Imperial Guardsmen Regiment, and local planetary defense forces, it was still not enough to halt the Xenos onslaught. Even with the help of multiple Space Marine chapters, including the Minotaurs, Marauders, Nemesis chapter, Red Seraphs, and the Angels Revenant, was not enough to stem the Necron tide. By 995 M41, 3 years after the conflict began, the war had become unsustainable, with attrition losses reaching 60%. Segmentum Command believed the Orpheus sector cannot be saved without a Crusade-level campaign, which would take the Imperium a minimum of 30 years to organize. Faced with such dire prospects, Imperial war savants and strategists believed the only viable option left is to exact exterminatus.
That's always what they go to, isn't it? Fuck, it sounds tough. Exterminate it.
Imperial victory.
Imperial victory.
Total Imperial victory. Praise be the Emperor.
It's crazy that this, smaller Necron dynasty, because like we look at the map, earlier, all of the Necron dynasties in the Tempestus segmentum are on the smaller scale compared to like the ones in the Ultima segmentum.
Yeah.
And that it's able to do this much damage against especially all those Space Marine chapters, plus all the other firepower thrown at them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Necrons are pretty tough to begin with, but it sounds like this particular dynasty was like particularly vicious.
Yeah, I wonder if they've got like a higher than average propensity for becoming the like fucking flesh wearing Necrons whose name is escaping me now.
Yeah, the flayed ones.
Yeah, flayed ones. I wonder if they've got like a higher than average flayed one count because they love the bloodshed and everything so much more.
I'm with it, yeah.
I like it. Had canon. It's canonized now.
It's canon.
You heard it here, folks. So the next thing that's canon is the Dark Marches. The Dark Marches lie at the very borders of the segmentum and are spread in an arcing band across the borders of the Veiled region. Consisting of some of the oldest planetary systems within the entire galaxy, the Dark Marches were amongst the last regions of the segmentum to be absorbed by the Imperium, as they were only conquered and colonized after the Age of Apostasy during the Dark Marches crusade of the 36th millennium. I like that little bit, as that they're the oldest planetary systems within the entire galaxy because they're on the fringes of the disk. They're just some of the farthest out, and you think of as the galaxy spirals, the galaxy is expanding, and so it makes sense that these are some of the oldest worlds, potentially, some of the oldest Xenos inhabited worlds as well in the galaxy.
Yeah, interesting as it kind of spins out. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, and then there's also just not as much reason to go out that far as these kind of get more spaced out and less dense. Every jump to the next plot over becomes that much more difficult. So.
Right, it's galactic bumfuck nowhere.
Yeah. The next region is the Veiled region, and it is a vast, unmapped region of wilderness space in the Segmentum Tempestus that consists of dense nebula and newborn stars. As a result, this area of space is afflicted by high concentrations of ionizing radiation, various space-time anomalies, and a heavy cloak of stellar dust that makes the region very difficult to penetrate with the use of Imperial sensing technologies, hence the name. The great expanse of the Veiled region is known to be the home of Orc freebooters and Xenos mercenaries, as well as many Imperial traders seeking lucrative new routes and unexplored planets. The Veiled region is also populated by a large number of Necron dynasties. Of course, yeah. This area loves Necron dynasties. I wonder, maybe while I'm thinking about, I wonder where the original Necron homeworld is on the galactic map, if we know such a thing.
That's a good question.
Like, did they kind of spawn from the south and go up, you know? Because it kind of almost gives me that vibe. Though not much known is known to the Imperium, the inhabited worlds in the Veiled region are also known to have greatly suffered at the hands of the Khorne berserkers of the World Eaters Traitor Legion. So, yeah, just kind of this cool area. Oftentimes we talk about Dark Elder only being in Cormora, but you also get tons of spots like this where it's like pirates are just going to make their homes in these kind of underbelly areas that are hard to get to, kind of protected. And once you're there, you kind of got like freedom to do what you want.
Yeah, I could see this area being where the Necron tier originated from. I haven't found anything that says where, if they have like a canon homeworld. It just says that the planet's origin, or the planet of origin, was barren and radiation blasted, making it incredibly hostile to life. And also thinking about how old the Necron tier are, just how they've been around for so long, that they could be one of these oldest planets in the galaxy on the outer fringes, blasted by that ionized radiation in the Veiled region. I think that there is a legitimately good case for, this could be where the Necron originated from.
Mm-hmm. This is what I was able to pull up just in a quick search. It says here, the Necron homeworld is a subject of much speculation in the Warhammer 40k universe. It is believed to be a barren and radiation-blasted planet, often described as a tomb world, where the ancient Necrons hibernate for over 6 million years, blah, blah, blah. The exact location of their homeworld is not specified, and it is suggested that it may have been destroyed or lost to time during the War in Heaven, a conflict with the Satan. Some theories propose it could be located in the Ghoul Stars, but this remains unconfirmed. Overall, the Necron homeworld is a significant but mysterious aspect of their lore. Okay, this is some stupid AI answer, but all this to say, we don't know.
We don't know. Could be anywhere. I like this, though. This kind of makes sense. I think the Ghoul Stars are not in a good area for a Necron homeworld, where this kind of works.
Yep.
Yeah, the Ghoul Stars, is that north? Is that in the...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forget what the northern one is. Oh, God damn it.
Obscurus.
Just listen to this.
Well, Halos, this is the Halo Stars. I think
Halos, okay.
Halos, Ghoul Stars are, I think, over here, maybe?
Oh, man.
I want to say they're like east or west. Up here we go, Ghoul Stars.
Okay.
But, I mean, that's... Okay, I mean, that's still like the galactic fringe, so...
Yeah.
It's still the fringe, and then the bigger, stronger dynasties are in that area, too. So I think both of them have solid cases.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I would look to... Let's do some archaeology, and let's dig up some spots in the Veiled region and the Ghoul Stars. Let's see what we can find. Let's wake up some tomb worlds together.
Right. Mm-hmm. I'll load the ship up with Promethium so it's ready to go. Road trip.
All right. And for our final space, we got the Mandragoran Stars. The Mandragoran Stars lie at the southernmost edge of Segmentum Tempestus. The region is defined by extreme age of its scattered star systems, most of which cannot sustain human life, and by its relentless celestial hazards. Across these forlorn worlds lie enigmatic and sinister ruins of pre-human origin, their secrets whispered to a few and their dangers threatening to all who dare to trespass.
Cool. Yeah, so it just seems like this area, it's all spread out in the Tempestus, and it's hard to get. Seems like there's a lot of warp storms, or just like not even like warp activity, but also just like normal solar, what's the word I'm looking for? Like solar activities that causes like weird solar storms or weird ionized radiation area or just natural phenomena like that.
A lot of solar flare, a lot of, like stellar winds, a lot of radiation activity.
Yeah. So it just kind of makes this area just kind of hard to navigate, hard to be in. Yeah.
I think this is a neat area. It's like some areas are really cool for developing stuff and maybe playing RPGs in because there's a lot that's already there to work with. And I think this is cool for the opposite reason, that there's a lot of gaps that you could build homebrew stuff in. This would be a really interesting area for like an adventure, like whether you're writing a story, running an RPG, creating a homebrew something. There's a lot of unknowns to work with.
Yeah. It's just crazy looking at this galactic map that Gerald has pulled up and just like looking at all these different planets and yeah, man. So there's not a lot going on, but also at the same time, there's a whole lot there that you can kind of just choose from. And Mordia Prime. Oh, there it is. I know Mordia. That deserves an episode. Oh, Morda Prime. I don't know what the fuck that planet is.
Here's Mordent, which that makes me think of Mordant Earth.
Yeah, so I was just thinking that.
That's so funny.
There you got. Yeah.
9 worlds of Batoras. That looks like a fucking demon world symbol if I ever saw one.
Yeah.
Demon's Wake.
Demon's Wake. Okay. Nice, friendly place to visit during the summer.
Hey.
And there's Gamora.
Gamora.
Yep. Just up. And then here's Kamara.
Wait a minute.
Wait a second.
That's funny.
And then I saw Barbarous.
Barbarous.
Potential spoiler for later. Way later. Yep.
Cool. Well, that was the Segmentum Tempestus. As we get through the segmentums, they have less and less information. But this one, there's some cool ship fleet information. A couple little things here and there that definitely useful to know. In the show notes, I suppose. Come listen to Lorehammer, listen to lore. If you have homebrew lore that you want to submit, you can submit to lorehammerpodcast@gmail.com, and then I'll read it off on Lorehammer Listen to Lore at some point in my life.
Soon, TM.
Could be today. Could be tomorrow. Could be 5 years from now. I could be an old man in my deathbed. We don't know. Time will tell.
And with warp shenanigans, you could be telling it to your old self. So who knows?
You're right.
And whenever you want to hear more on the fantasy side of things, come on over to Grimlore. Me and my co-host talk about Warhammer Fantasy, some Age of Sigmar, and then whatever grim and or dark settings we feel like talking about. Fuzz was on there as a guest for an episode or two. So
I have been. Hopefully we'll do it again when I'm not exhausted when you guys record.
Yeah, they like to record late, hey? It's an obnoxious way to live, but it's neither here nor there.
it's a tough life, but we manage.
But it's fun. You get that like tired, drunk craziness energy going on sometimes.
That is nice, yeah. Okay. Well, cool. Thanks for listening. We'll see you all on the next episode where we cover the final segmentum, and not a lot going on, but also I learned a whole bunch of cool little things, lots of heresy and stuff. So see you all on the next episode. Adios.